The weakest argument that I have seen coming from a lot of actors, actresses, producers, writers, directors, comedians, and more out there over Charlie Kirk is that they have lost freedom of speech, and they don't understand the concept of freedom of consequence and how that really isn't a thing at all, and they believe that's a thing because they believe that what they said about Charlie Kirk saying downright offensive things should not translate to them losing their jobs. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Charlie Kirk is that not only was he assassinated on September 10th, well over a month now, but his birthday just passed, and there's been a lot of things going on with a lot of celebrities within Hollywood. We know that a lot of celebrities have been getting fired from certain positions, from certain studios for getting way too political, either about Trump or Charlie Kirk, or even both for that matter, one of which involves Jane Fonda, which I'm sure that you know exactly what's been going on with her lately after her whole HBO situation, and now she's actually lashing out toward the general public, yet again, about her firing, about being silenced, and about being put in the dark, quote-unquote. Now, what's interesting here has a lot more to do with the fact that Jane Fonda was trying to make a comeback with her acting career. Even though she is up there in age, she was trying to come back on HBO with a fitness/yoga series that was about to debut, and it all went haywire after HBO executives said, "No, we're not going to work with someone like you for saying such political nonsense out there." Now, one thing about Jane Fonda is that we know that she gets very fiery with the general public when they question what she has to say, especially when she begins to say such outrageous things out there. However, ever since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we have seen a wide range of celebrities that have come forward to say downright offensive things about him and his loved ones, one of which involved Jane Fonda, who was later fired by HBO as a result after her political statement toward Trump and Charlie Kirk backfired completely. Now, one major development coming out of this now involves Jane Fonda and how she responded and getting very emotional after her firing by snapping back at the public. I think when you are a woman, she says, in this industry, it can be a very unfair and a very unfair place, especially if you display your political opinion, and that should never result in silencing others. What makes me so teary-eyed and makes me shed tears every morning now, knowing that I am waking up to a country that I don't know anymore, is that we are being silenced. People are losing their jobs over their freedom of speech, and I am one of the great examples of that, and I think Jimmy Kimmel is also a standout example of that as well. What's disgusting to me is that this administration is using Charlie Kirk's death to force their political agenda on others, and it's not right. It's absolutely unprofessional, and to get people like me silenced, I think it shows how afraid our sitting president really is from powerful voices delivering their message. Those representing my industry deserve to point out the hypocrisy coming from this administration, and just how it also mimics fascism. I have been silenced, and it hurts. It really hurts, and I just don't even know what to say anymore. All for having a political opinion, no less. Are our American citizens that out of touch to not see what's going on with President Trump and how he is using Charlie Kirk's passing to advance his position as president? It's appalling behavior and I will not stand for it. But for our industry and the studios silencing their talent because they are afraid of Donald Trump is even more concerning to me as an actress, and one that values cinema. I just have to cry to myself at times instead of holding back these emotions of what has happened to a once beautiful country that is now being run by a fascist, and one that dreams to be a dictator. This is not how a country should be run, and this most certainly is not how a sitting president should act. This is a man that is obviously afraid of powerful voices from a different generation, especially coming from a powerful woman like myself who calls for the truth. And I think it makes Donald feel vulnerable when we all come together to deliver the truth. All I have to say is shame on Hollywood for bending to Trump. Now guys, let me just say one thing about Jane Fonda. Now we all know what she did back in the 70s. We all know what she did throughout the 80s and the 90s. She is literally an activist, and really a extreme activist, to the point where it really makes you question, is she even really for the United States now in 2025? Alright, back then, sure, she did some insane, irredeemable stuff, let's just say that. I don't want to get into a whole thing, I want to stay on this subject. But one thing about Jane Fonda for sure is that we know that she is trying to make an acting comeback. She's trying to make a comeback with her career, even though she's up there in age, and it's just not going to work out. There's no doubt about that. It's not going to work out because a lot of studios, not all, but a good chunk of Hollywood now, is most certainly taking some form of responsibility, finally, by not actually letting some of these actors or actresses representing their studios, because it gives them a bad image if they keep those actors or actresses in play that say such political nonsense out there. Now, continuing on, she goes on to conclude, the only change that we have now is during the midterms next year to really take back the House and the Senate, and to take back our country and what's right for everybody. So there goes Jane Fonda again, talking about the midterms. We see a lot of celebrities doing this right now. We see a lot of actors in Hollywood talking about the midterms, saying this and that about, 2026. And look, I think that nothing's going to change their behavior, even if things were to work in their favor, politically speaking. They would still act the way that they would act until Trump is out of office. That's just how it's going to be. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So looking at people like Jane Fonda or Robert De Niro or Tom Hanks or George Clooney, these are very, big examples of those representing the industry that actually just got way too political and politicized their acting career. They politicized their entire platform, their base, their core fan base that followed them for decades, and those people are no longer following them as a result. So she goes on to conclude, because of the way things are going now, I just don't see how we are going to recover from all of this. I just don't see how Hollywood will have a chance to recover at all. And I think that's all on Hollywood right now for allowing a lot of these actors and actresses to represent them since 2016, when they just kept spouting nonsense day in and day out. This is exactly why I still question to myself, why does ABC allow The View to remain on air? Well, the real answer to that is Disney is just going to Disney. That's how Disney is, right? But we know that when you're looking at someone like Jane Fonda, when you're looking at someone like Robert De Niro, this is exactly why they are losing fans. They are bleeding fans right now. People cannot even bear to watch any of their work anymore when it arrives on television. I've seen a lot of comments out there, people saying that when The Godfather Part 2 comes on screen, or when Casino comes on screen, they can't watch Robert De Niro on there. The same exact thing now goes as follows for Jane Fonda, for a lot of people waking up to who she really is lately, because unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that just don't know what Jane Fonda did back in the 70s, and especially how she's been acting lately ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination and Trump taking office again this year in 2025. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Jane Fonda, because we all know that her desperate attempt to revive her acting career this high up in age is obviously not working out well for her. It's not working out for Hollywood at all. They don't want to deal with her. Very inflammatory takes on politics. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And I will catch you guys later.